Welcome back to another day on the channel here for your average content day. Now we just celebrated Christmas and it is that time of year. However, it seems like Chevrolet is having a little Christmas party of their own, and it's going to cost you up to 14% more for your brand new Chevrolet in 2025. Now, as if a 30% increase over the last handful of years wasn't enough, no, they had to go and rake it up just a little bit higher. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and comment and all those good things. I'm always happy to chat in the comment section. So we're going to go over which ones went up and why I think they went up, because some of them actually went down for 2025, which is kind of strange. Now, starting off the top of the list, this is very easy as it's right on GM's website for Chevrolet for that matter. The Trax, which is their entry-level SUV, starting at $27,000 for 2025, represents a $3,000 almost increase, which is equivalent to 9%, almost a 10% raise, which is pretty high as far as I'm concerned for a 1 year over year price increase. Chevrolet Malibu is unfortunately discontinued for 2025, and the Chevrolet Trailblazer more or less stays the same at $29,000 and change. Now we're actually seeing a Equinox price drop on their EV sector of roughly $3,000 or a couple percent, where the gas-powered version is up almost 10% again. It's up 9% going into 2025, which is strange because that is one of their best-selling vehicles. Gas-powered Blazer is also more or less unchanged in pricing. The Blazer EV also is only seeing a very slight couple percent increase in price, a couple $1,000s. We're not too concerned about that. That is very average across the industry. However, to no one's surprise, trucks are also up a fair amount, getting pretty close to 10% in the HD sector. And again, another car that is discontinued for 2025 is the beloved Chevrolet Camaro. Very unfortunate. They had a pretty good run. The 6th generation Camaro was a stupendously good car. I had one for a couple of years and I absolutely loved it. If you ever get a chance to buy one at a reasonable price, do yourself a favor and pull the trigger on that purchase. You will not regret it. Now, the Chevrolet 3/4 ton trucks are seeing also almost a 10% increase. We're looking at about $6,000 here, so it's in that 9% range. And the Corvette pricing is essentially unchanged, only a $100 difference going into 2025, which is welcome news. And 2025 does not have data yet. Of course, this begs the question, where is all this pricing coming from? Right now, the markets are tanking. Vehicle pricing is disintegrating faster than we've really ever saw. I mean, it's comparable to something you would see in a recession, which we're slowly statistically starting to actually find ourselves in. But it is very interesting to know that the Equinox is seeing a $4,000 price increase, representing about 9%. And the difference spreads higher as you go into higher trimmed, more fully loaded models. We can easily argue that there's more electronics, more options, blah, blah. That is part of the increase. However, the numbers don't lie, and that is getting into the double-digit territory. We are seeing something like a 14% increase on certain models, depending on the trim. But it is interesting to note that the EV models are down in price, which obviously, I mean, hey, why not? Everyone's going to be thrilled to hear that, because now more than ever, we need cheaper vehicles with these high interest rates. The Equinox, what we see is a $20,000 price difference between the gas-powered and the EV version, which is massive. It's actually almost double the cost when you do the math, which is pretty astounding in my opinion. Now, they will tell us that EVs supposedly have a lower profit margin. However, if it's almost double the price, I find that hard to believe. However, looking into 2025, seeing the price change in both directions on the gas and EV Equinox, we are seeing a price comparison shrink from 39% to 26% in comparison between the two, which is probably meant to sway buyers into obviously purchasing the EV, which is highly speculative, but I'm assuming it's probably a pretty good guess. They also have not released 2025 data yet for Corvette pricing in the Z06 or E-Ray. Rest assured, I'm sure it's going to be very similar. As many of you know, the days of way overpriced Z06s are essentially over. They are selling them at or below MSRP right now, especially with the announcement of the ZR1 coming. So I think everyone's pretty much saving up their pennies to, slam down a fat deposit on one of those as soon as they can try and get an allocation for the new C8 ZR1, which will arrive, I'm sure, sooner rather than later. And I believe right now they're talking something in the $200,000 range will be MSRP for the Z06. And I know people are going to pay significantly more than that. And I also know that dealers are going to be charging a massive upcharge in the form of market adjustment, is their favorite term. We'll see how long that actually lasts, as Chevrolet has made it very clear that they're going to build a ZR1 based on demand and not exclusivity. So hopefully that means the prices will be reasonable for those cars. I just can't wait to see them on the road.